Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Difference Makers podcast. And I'm here with a great friend and ministry partner, Brandon. And Brandon and his lovely wife, Brandon Welch, and his lovely wife, Kim, have founded an amazing ministry. They pastor it as well, Bridge the Gap. It's here in Lexington, and they're part of the Bethel family and partnering with us, but they have been just affecting the community in such amazing ways. So, this podcast is about difference makers, and I couldn't think of a better one to have on today than Brandon, and we're just going to have an anointed time together. So here's my friend Brandon. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here with you.
Well, his background is so interesting that he was saved at a young age, but the cool thing is he's been everything from outreach pastor to senior pastor to, my goodness, it's all kinds of different things on here. And I'll have him tell a little bit about his story. Brandon, some of the things as you get ready to tell your story that I love about you and Kim, and you can always tell when people say, I want to do outreach. Well, a lot of times they want to do outreach because they want to do what they want to do. I want to preach, or, I want to be seen, and what I love about you guys is how you honor those that serve with you. You have amazing leadership and training every event we have, and how you're connected to the local house. So many people, whether they have an evangelistic calling or a prophetic calling, don't understand the significance of being connected to house, because that's your strength and your support. Yeah. And with your background being so connected to the house, wherever you've been throughout your life, even when you didn't have outreach ministry, I'm sure gave you the understanding of that. And so why don't you just share with everyone a little bit about some of the things you guys are doing, and we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Yeah. We started Bridge the Gap, launched Bridge the Gap at Lexington last March, actually a year ago. And it is a mobile outreach ministry that reaches into impoverished communities. And we serve women who are trapped in sex trafficking and addiction. We reach out to believers that are living in impoverished communities and have a form of isolation. Maybe they're disabled or have other conditions where they aren't getting out and don't have much fellowship. And so we step into those situations, as well as men and women that are struggling in addiction, mental health, just brokenness. And Kim and I both, we go back to how God has worked in our life, the struggles, the things that we've been trapped in, and really have a heart. Like you said, our heart isn't to go out and do what we want to do. We want to be a servant. We want to serve the community and serve those that are
And you guys do such a great job of not only in the local church, you're humble, you serve your members, you serve in other than just outreach. When you're here, you're serving. And not just outreach, it's huge what you guys are doing. But I love that aspect about it. And I also love the effect you have on the community, because you partner with a lot of other ministries and churches and things too. And that takes humility, but it also takes wisdom and seasoning to be able to make that you really are bridging the gap, not only with the community, but with other ministries and other non-for-profits, which is pretty cool.
No, it is. It's the collaborations with other churches. We don't have all the answers. And, God, whether that's other churches, other ministries, and recovery partnerships that we have. I mean, that is vital. When I started to do this work in Cincinnati, we didn't have a lot of collaborations with recovery programs. And our level of success in getting people into those programs, I mean, it was extremely difficult. And once we began building those collaborations, making those connections, having those partners, when people were ready, it was they were able to flow into the next step. And so that has been extremely important.
Well, I noticed, like, one of the things that my wife, Steph, and I have been believing for 20 years in this house, and that was just taking an entire Sunday, divide up about 7 opportunities. We call it for the city. And divide up 7 opportunities for people to volunteer and serve in, and just go out, and instead of having a Sunday morning service, we come together, pray, and get everything together. It's already laid out, and everybody just takes off to their area of ministry. And one of those we do every time, and that is we've done 2 last year. I think we're doing 3 this year, which is a huge step of faith when you're not, taking your offering and having all this. You're just by faith, and God's more than blessed it. but Brandon and Kim always had up a certain area that we love, and it's where a lot of sex trafficking is taking place, and that kind of thing, and drugs and addiction and homelessness. And I love how you guys set up, and you have other ministries that can help set up their trailers, whatever. And, we fed people and set chairs up and had worship and all that, but we also had a clothing deal set up. And talk about a little bit about some of that stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we have, every time that we go on mobile outreach, Voices of Hope, which is a nonprofit recovery support system here organization here in Lexington. They send a couple people, recovery specialists with us. And that's huge. When we're out there and we're ministering the gospel and we're sharing hope, having that opportunity right in front of their face, that when you're ready, we have people that are working in this field. They can get you in today, they can get you in tomorrow, they can get you next week. Whenever you're ready, it makes all the difference in the world. And so, on our mobile outreaches, we have those recovery specialists, and at our stationary events, we've had Brightview Health. They work with people with mental health. They work with addiction.
Both of them were there on the last one we were at, weren't they?
They were. They were.
And what's really cool about the Voices of Hope, is it?
Voices of Hope.
They collaborate. They don't really have their own facility. They collaborate to find the best place to plug people in, which is really awesome.
That's it. And when you're working with people that need recovery, not everyone needs the same thing.
Right.
And so, to have, we got one place for you to go and hopefully it works. That's not the way it goes. So that I do. I love that about Voices of Hope. They have connection in a lot of different realms, in detox and recovery. And not only that, but support afterwards, because, getting into detox, going through recovery, that's the first component. There's a whole life after that if you don't have a support system and a network around you, and that's one thing we do. We want to bridge the gap between our friends and community resources and support, because it's what it's going to take. It takes a community around all of us. I mean, myself included, but all of us, and especially those that are coming out of addiction and that lifestyle. We met a woman last night named Melissa. She actually just got out of treatment, and she was in the wrong place, and we were in the right place. So come on. And so, but that was one thing, that was one thing she said. She goes, guys, the only people I know, all of my family, all of my friends, for the last decade, everyone that I know is trapped in addiction. They're in the lifestyle I used to be in. And how do I start from here? And that's where we start communicating. Man, we have connections. We have connections with support systems. And, it's not going to be familiar. It's going to be strange. It's the unknown. But if you're going to make it and you're going to succeed, you've got to connect.
And that's one of the things that, on two fronts. From a ministry standpoint, from our church and your ministry and how we partner, we can talk about that later in the podcast, but how important it is to collaborate, because everyone has different resources and influence and so on. And we do that as a church, as you know, and I collaborate with other churches on different things and other things. And it's something that really in the body of Christ, we need to be better at. And so we really strive to do that, because we're for the city, we're for the impact, and so that's why we love being a part of what you do and support you guys as we do and help you. The other part of that is what happens. It's all about relationship, right? And so it's relationship with those performing ministry, making a difference, but it's relationship with those that you're ministering to, and understanding that most people, it takes about a lot of them, even if you get in Teen Challenge, 12 months is not long enough. And they'll tell you that. I mean, it's a 18-month to 2-year process just to kind of get people, because it takes 12 months, 18 months to get them solid enough to where, okay, we might be able to release you to rent a place near us. But what I've seen all these years have been involved in helping people in recovery and different things is, it's like this young lady. Where do I go? My mom's addicted. My dad, I don't know who my dad is, or if I do, he's addicted. My cousin, my brother, my friends.
Everybody.
And they go right back into that cesspool, and they make it a while, and then there they go. That's right. And so it is really critical. And that's why, to make a difference, we got to be humble enough to say, we're not going to do it all. We're not the end all shop, right? We just got to do our part. And that's what I love about you and Kim.
The collaborations, the connections are huge. I mean, and that united front. And I mean, Jesus said, they're going to know you're my disciples for your love for one another. And I mean, and so stepping in with different people, a lot of times we get, what church are you from? We're made up of different churches.
Yeah,
We have people from different, and
right.
and people aren't used to that because they're
Right.
used to one place doing one thing, and so we're made up. This is a body of believers. We're made up. We have people that are part of the recovery system, and others that are with us to come together, and we're fighting for you.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
So good.
And so, yeah, it is.
So we
It's huge.
kind of talked in general, maybe hone in a little bit just on real clearly. What is the vision of Bridge the Gap Lexington?
Yeah. So we want to see transformed lives, revolutionize the spiritual and social culture of impoverished communities for Christ. And we really see that happening in three ways. We want to bridge the gap between our friends and the Savior. I mean, you spoke, it was such a great message Sunday talking about more and more and being agents of redemption and how that redemption is working through our lives and how we have the ability to bring and create a culture of redemption. And so that's what we do. When we step in, when we go into these communities, we are bringing a culture of redemption. That redemption's alive in our lives. And we want people to know, you're seen by God.
Yeah, come on.
You're loved by God.
Come on.
You're valued by God. And we're here representing that because they know you don't have to be here. You didn't have to show up. You didn't, I have to be here. I'm stuck here. They're trapped there, but you're coming out from somewhere else. And it is, it communicates that God is in pursuit of you.
That's good.
Is in pursuit of you.
Good,
and so we start there because we know, spiritually and inviting God into that situation, it's a desperate, it looks hopeless. But we know that when you invite God in, and that's a lot of the times, this is where we start. This is a long road with our friends. This isn't a one-day thing. This isn't a couple weeks and your life's going to be.
I love the way you say our friends. It's not our clients or, who are our target. It's friends. And that's the part I wish so many other people that love, and they do it with the right heart. They just don't have the right language and understanding of the significance of relationship and friendship.
And that's huge. And I'll tell you what,
that's what brings trust, right?
That's it. And you're going to get nowhere without trust.
Right.
And you've got to put them, that's the emphasis. What is God the Father comes to us and he says, I want you to be my son. Right. On. Jesus is a friend that sticks closer than a brother, and he invites us into a family. And I tell you, it's one of the most important things that I hear. And it's an indicator that I know we're making a difference is that when people go, man, this isn't like an organization showing up. This is like a family.
Come on.
And it's like, well, come on. That's the gospel. That's what we're here to communicate. We're not inviting you into a building or an organization. We're inviting you into a family.
Well, like we said, most people need a new family. Like I was sharing with you off air about a gentleman I'm ministering to, and I use him in one of my companies a lot to help him get back on his feet to work, that just got out of prison. And man, it's like, he didn't have any family. And maybe one living relative, his mother that he wasn't really connected to, he's trying to reconnect. And, he's like, I love you, man. I said, I love you too, man, because he's 48 years old, but he's still looking for, I've been in jail for 4.5 years. He's looking for friendship, right? He's doing all the right things. He's doing AA. He's, going to church. He's doing everything he can do. But even in all that, if you don't have friends, that community, that friendship, that family, it's all over. I know you operate as a spiritual father. You have spiritual fathers, and that whole component of that spiritual family and that dynamic that creates that close bond, gives people strength, and it brings identity. Because like you said, a lot of people, that's
a lot of the identity, and that's within the family. And yet, we've all lived and grew up in broken families. But the devastation of that in the individuals, the population that we work with, it needs to be redefined. What family means, what does it mean to have what's a true friend, what's a true family member like, and it really represents the Father and his kingdom.
When we really look at it too, Brandon, and been in ministry all these years, as I've been in ministry all these years, every family's dysfunctional. The best family's dysfunctional, right? And a lot of those you wouldn't expect or suspect. There was abuse that you wouldn't think about, whether it's physical, sexual, verbal, whatever. And we always go back. We call it here the hurts, right? The hurts of the heart. So we go back and we find those roots because we take our leadership here. As you know, you're in our leadership through a lot of this, because if we can deal with the symptoms and not even have revelation or understanding of what the real root is, right? And so trying to bring people back to their roots, trying to bring them back to that place to understand. So then they can be transformed and reprogram the life they want.
Yes.
Instead of the life they think they have to have.
Yeah. And it's giving people a new experience. I mean, one of the most important things, when we're working in the sex trafficking as a man on that team is representing. I mean, really not even representing. In most times it's presenting what a father is. What does a father look like? What does a brother look like? And
one thing about our school systems, as hard as they try, there's not very many men in the school systems teaching now. There's some, but not enough. So anywhere you go in life, so many times there's not a father figure.
Yeah.
And really, I think it's like 78% of the people are like fatherless because either their fathers passed away or they didn't know them or there was a divorce. And especially in these communities and in, Black communities and so on. And in the poor white communities, it's really high fatherless, and so there's such hurt. Maybe their father abused them. Maybe their father abandoned them.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, or they may have never known their father.
Never known. Yeah.
And there's always that hole in their heart. So they don't even know how to relate to men.
Yeah.
Men don't know how to relate to men, let alone women.
Yeah. No, it's true. And how are you going to relate to God who shows up? He shows up and he brings a revelation of, I'm God the Father.
Yeah.
I am a son.
Yeah.
And he comes in the male form. I mean, he has brought a revelation of himself in the male form.
So good.
And then what we're dealing with a lot of the times is women who have known nothing but abuse.
That's good.
It's either I'm going to reject you and leave you, or I'm going to abuse you. Which one do you want?
Exactly.
And in their life with the male figures in their life. And so stepping in and going, love from a pure heart.
Yeah.
Care for, I'm going to serve you.
They're watching you like, okay, what do you really want?
Exactly.
But because that's all they've seen.
It's the only thing they know. But I promise you, and this is it, experience brings revelation and knowledge. So and if you don't give someone a new experience, they're going to just revert back to what they know. And it's like, is that really real? Every man I've known has done this. Every man that's been a part of my life has treated me like this. So God reveals himself like a man. It's hard to work through that. And as believers, God, as believers, it is essential that we are representing or presenting for the first time, giving them a new experience. You're really
presenting for the first time in so many cases. When we're going to do another one. We're going to do a part 2 of this. And when we get into part 2, I want to get into more of actually what you're doing when you go out. And then I want to hear some of the amazing stories and testimonies. Yeah. And man, I've hoped you've enjoyed today, because we're just getting touching the surface, and Brandon and Kim just offer so much to the kingdom. And they're so important to the Bethel family and to me as well. And we're so excited to see what God's doing. We're getting ready to do some cool stuff with the bus and other things. And we can get into some of that.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. We're excited. Okay. Yeah, really excited where things are going.
Now we'll have on the screen how at the bottom of your screen to tell how to connect with you. But you want to give just verbally also like how they could connect with the ministry?
Yeah. If you go to bridgethegapky.org, on our website, there's information and how to get involved. There's volunteer forms. There's an Amazon wish list.
What you said again, your website, or would you say Facebook? What'd you say?
Bridge the Gap KY. So bridgethegapky.org. And and on there you can get information about who we are, what we're doing, stories of transformed lives.
I mean, you're going to be doing you're doing monthly events here, but you'll be doing 3 big events with the whole church, where you're going out and having a huge deal. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, May 22nd, we're going to be for the city. We're excited about that. So you can get on our website. You can get information on how to be involved. Contact us. All of our information is on there. So.
Well, we're so excited. I can't wait till we get into part 2 of this. So until then, be a difference maker wherever you are, every day and every way.